The Gero Crucifix is commissioned by Gero, Archbishop of Cologne, and this was a life-sized crucifix, so quite a large piece. It's wood and then covered in gesso, sort of like a light plaster. It eliminates all of the grain, creates something more realistic, and then the whole thing is painted. Unfortunately, by making something lifelike, you also run into the issues of iconoclasm or issues of idolatry. So there's a cavity in the back of Christ's head which was meant to hold the host. Thus, if you prayed to it, thinking that it is a depiction of Jesus, in fact, you are praying to the host, which makes it more acceptable. And we see a somber image of suffering and death. We see heavy modeling, sagging skin, folds in the flesh, very naturalistic form. And this is key to Ottonian art. It anticipates what will become Romanesque and Gothic interests later on. Here we see the physical suffering of Jesus. Now, if you look at the proportions, especially of the chest and the abdomen, you'll say, wow, that's unusual, because usually the pectoral muscles don't end and then leave quite a bit of space, 6 inches, to the abdomen. Well, what the artist is doing is he's looking at the only model he has. He's looking down his own body, which is going to artificially elongate everything beneath his eyes. And so you're seeing that elongation of the abdomen. The stomach is a little distended. He has a belly. He doesn't have the six-pack we would expect from the Byzantine. But then again, given dietary restrictions, dietary practices at the time, it probably wouldn't have been all that unusual that, people who are eating very inconsistent diets might have a lot of gas, might have a lot of digestive issues going on. And so you might see that distension in the stomach. You'll also see toes that look a lot more like fingers. They look like they could grab onto something. And that's because he's looking at his toes, trying to look down at them in a way that is going to mimic the foreshortening, as if Jesus is looking down at his toes. So you're going to get that artificial elongation. That being said, the sagginess, the lack of musculature, the lack of any kind of idealization would make sense, because that's not the kind of person he sees on a regular basis. He's regularly seeing average people in medieval Europe who are going to look a lot more like this than our classical depiction of Jesus.